Have you seen this design before? This design is Burberry's iconic pattern, recognized all over the world. Burberry has continuously protected its check pattern, from the 1920s to the present day. Here's another check pattern that looks similar. This is the check pattern of a European registered design filed and registered by Creaciones Camal SL in 2005. However, it was invalidated because it was found to be similar to the prior design of the Burberry check, which had already been made public before the filing. In countries or jurisdictions where design rights can be registered without substantive examination, such as the European Union, it's common for famous designs to be registered by imitating or slightly modifying existing designs. As in this case, most designs that are identical or highly similar to well-known existing designs are invalidated or rendered unenforceable, but there still remain quite a number of designs registered through the clever modification of famous originals. This constitutes a design infringement, and in such cases, it is necessary to determine whether the designs are identical or similar. The determination of design identity or similarity is related to the requirements for an applied design to be registered with the National IP Office. In order for a design to be registered with the National IP Office, the applied design must be new and distinct from any design that has already been made public or previously applied for. If the design is found to be identical or similar, it cannot be registered. If a design is identical or similar to a previously applied design, it cannot be registered. Even if a design right has been registered and granted, if a previously disclosed or applied design is discovered after the registration, that design right cannot avoid cancellation or invalidation. A design registered with the National IP Office is granted an exclusive right. Design infringement is established when a design is implemented by a third party in the course of business and is identical or similar to the registered design. Therefore, by determining the identity or similarity between one's design and another, one can protect one's own design right. The purpose of protecting designs through design right is to encourage the creation of designs with economic value and promote their utilization, thereby contributing to industrial development. Therefore, the determination of whether designs are identical or similar should be made based on the average perspective of ordinary consumers. Here are two tools with similar shapes. One is a beauty device called a lip implant, and the other is an art tool known as a stump. During examination, the U.S. design application for the lip implant was found to be highly similar in form to the prior design, stump. Although their purposes and functions are entirely different, the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office and the Patent Trial and Appeal Board did not grant registration, as the two designs were deemed highly similar in shape, regardless of the name of the items. However, the appellate court ruled that the scope of rights for the applied design, lip implant, would extend only to beauty tools or similar items. Therefore, even if its shape is identical or similar to that of an art tool, which belongs to a completely different field, the two designs cannot be regarded as similar. In determining design identity or similarity, the general principle is that even if two designs appear highly similar in form, they are not considered similar when the purpose and function of the items differ. While the European Union does not take into account the purpose or function of a product when determining design identity or similarity, many countries, including Korea, the US, and Japan, consider the purpose and function of the product to which the design is applied as a fundamental premise in such determination. Therefore, the determination of design identity and similarity should be made only after clearly identifying the purpose and function of the product to which the design is applied. The determination of design identity and similarity is also closely related to competition within the market. Competition within a market generally occurs between products of the same category. Therefore, in principle, the scope of protection of a design right extends to identical or similar products that are in competitive relation within the market, and in exceptional cases, its effect may extend even to products in different categories. Taking these circumstances into account, each country regulates the scope of effect of design rights differently. In Europe, the effect of design rights is recognized not only for products of the same category, but also for those of different categories. Therefore, there is no need to consider the purpose or function of the products to which the designs are applied. However, in many countries, including Korea, the US, Japan, etc., the purpose and function of the products to which the designs are applied are considered first in principle. Accordingly, the effective design rights may extend even to different categories of products where the purposes of use are interchangeable. Here, products in the same category refers to those that share the same purpose and function, while products in different categories refer to those whose purpose and function are entirely different. Similar products are those that have the same purpose but different functions. Examples are ballpoint pens and fountain pens, desk clocks and wristwatches, or desk lamps and lighting fixtures. However, even when products have different purposes, they may still be considered similar if their uses are interchangeable, such as cell phone cases and wallets, or pencil cases and cutlery holders. If the purposes and functions differ and there is no interchangeability of use, the products are regarded as dissimilar. Therefore, even if the designs are identical or similar, the design right generally does not extend to them. When determining design identity or similarity, exclusive rights cannot be recognized for portions that have already been disclosed to the public. In determining the scope of a design right, the publicly known portions of the registered design and the practice design should be given low importance, while the distinctive portions that differentiate the two designs should be given greater importance. The two workwear designs appear very similar overall. However, the similarities are already found in the prior design and should therefore be given lesser weight when determining design identity or similarity. Although it occupies a small portion, the shape and configuration of the chest seam are not commonly seen on the front of workwear. Because it is a visually prominent area easily noticed by consumers, the difference is striking, and this variation in shape creates a significant distinction in the overall aesthetic impression of the two designs. Therefore, when the two designs are compared and observed with focus on their essential parts, they evoke different aesthetic impression. Accordingly, the design in question is neither identical nor similar to the registered design and does not fall within the scope of the registered design's rights. Although the determination of design identity or a similarity is, in principle, based on an overall comparison and observation, when the common elements of both designs have already been disclosed by a prior design, their importance should be given lesser weight. Even if the differences occur only in small areas, if those portions are undisclosed, such differences may constitute the dominant features of the design. Whether two designs are identical or similar is determined comprehensively through overall comparison and observation. The determination is based on whether the product embodying the design is likely to be confused with other products during the distribution. Even if they are not similar enough to cause confusion, two designs may still be considered similar if they share common creative features that reflect the overall design trend in that field. As a rule, observation refers to comparison with the naked eye. However, in determining the identity or similarity of designs, where it is customary to observe the shape or form of a product under magnification, observation may be conducted using a magnifying glass or microscope, etc. Determination as a whole means that each element of a design should not be separated and compared individually, but rather, the overall appearance should be compared and observed to determine whether it evokes a different aesthetic impression in the viewer. Accordingly, if the dominant features are similar, the designs are regarded as similar even when there are minor differences in detail. Whether two designs are identical or similar depends on which features exert a dominant influence. When comparing the relative design significance, if the common features outweigh the differences, the two designs are considered similar, whereas if the differences outweigh the common features, the designs are regarded as dissimilar. When comparing relative design significance, the publicity and functionality of the designs must be fully taken into account. If the common features of the two designs were already publicly known, those features have low design significance, and the differences become the key criteria for determination. As a result, the two designs are considered dissimilar. Furthermore, if the common features are merely functional elements naturally expected of the product or unrelated to its decorative aspect, those features carry low design significance, making the differences the essential parts and resulting in dissimilarity between the designs. The more novel a design, the broader its range of similarity, whereas products with a greater number of similar items or higher functional importance have a narrower range of similarity. Important considerations. When determining the identity or similarity of designs, the following factors should be taken into account, in addition to the overall comparison and observation and the determination of the essential part of a design.